have never seen someone make some questionable cut choices, but we are not we are not murdering children like we're on an episode of Animal Crossing Dark Web DLC.
And welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Convoluted Podcast, where reality is optional and the internet is undefeated, and somehow, every week, we're reminded that humanity is just another bad idea away from a headline. I'm your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, guiding you through today's collection of chaos, curiosity, and questionable life choices. And as always, joining me today is the voice of reason, sarcasm, and occasional male medical malpractice warnings, Liz. How's it going, Liz?
It's going all right, and yourself?
It's not too bad, not too bad. Let's see. So how has your week been? Oh, we both cut each other off. How has your week been?
It's been good. It's been good. I had a really good week. It was like an odd, eerie, cemetery-like feeling. I won't say the key word for the life of me. You will never hear that word when I say that in that medical world. We don't say the key word, but it was great. I actually got to read on Friday a couple chapters in my book while I was waiting for the next print. It was awesome.
Ooh, yeah, Liz has been a very active book reader as of late, as we all mentioned. Later this week, you'll be getting the bonus episode. So look forward to that. We'll be recording that after this. So for everyone who's looking forward to it, don't forget to look forward. It's only on Spotify. So if you're listening to it on YouTube, I'm sorry. For the moment, it's going to be only on Spotify. So look for it. For Liz's go round as on her main segment episode. Do you want to give the people a little taste of what they'll be getting, Liz?
We talk about a world of fantasy and human lives suspended together in a blended family, maybe. And then how do you bring the medical world into it? Of course, you gotta have to milk some products from a certain animal or human-like species.
Yeah. So yeah, look forward to that. Once again, what is that book, Liz? So people can know.
Morning Glory Milking Farms. You're
Yeah.
definitely milking.
So yeah, make sure you read that book before you get into our book review, or you just want to jump in and just find out what we are talking about without no context whatsoever. We'll talk about the books a little bit because yeah, it's a book club. We have to talk about the things in the book, right? But I think it's better for people who read the book to see to enjoy a little bit more context clues. But yeah, look forward to that. Anything else new, Liz, or anything you'd like to discuss?
No. What about you?
Just been a very productive week. Running errands, just kind of doing the nitty gritty of it all. Trying to stay solemn to an extent. Just just trying to get the things done to enjoy the coming weeks. I have a bunch of long. I think I've told you I have a bunch of long weekends coming up. I've decided that this year is going to be a year where work will take a little bit of a back burner, and I'll be enjoying more weekends with my family and family and friends, to actually enjoy summer. Mostly because I have a bunch of time set aside already. I haven't used it. Like, why not make some long weekends and make the most of summer? So yeah, that is the future. Anything else we'd like to discuss? I don't have anything really to bring up.
Same. It's been a really good chill week. I'll take it.
All right then, everyone. So buckle up and grab a drink and prepare yourself, because we have a lot of stories to get down. So let's start off with something that honestly feels like a perfect snapshot of 2025 energy. So picture this. You're a flight attendant and you just finished a long shift. You're tired, hungry, and probably dehydrated from the recycled airplane air. You stop by Target on your way home, maybe grab a snack, maybe just vibe in the weirdly calming Target lighting. Oh, you gotta love fluorescent lighting. And out of nowhere, some random customer decides you're pretending to be a flight attendant. Flight attendant.
Wait, like fake flexing a flight attendant uniform. Who's out there LARPing as the bring your seat to an upright position to the lady?
Well, apparently that's the thing now. Someone legit confronted her in the store, accusing her of tricking people for clout or maybe discounts. Because nothing says like influencer like a discount trail mix from Target.
Bro, if I'm faking a profession for attention, it's not going to be the one that comes in delayed flight attendants, crying babies, and me and people trying to fight me over tiny bottles of water.
It's weird, right? This knee jerk suspicion of people just existing in public spaces. We got such a gotcha culture now where everyone's ready to pull out their phones and turn on tired workers into content. She literally said, I just wanted a snack after a long shift. I wasn't expecting to be interrogated in the snack aisle.
Let that woman eat her Doritos in peace, man.
It makes you wonder, what did we start defaulting to distrust? Like, is every uniform now a costume? Are we so wrapped in influencer culture that we assume that everyone's running a brand even when they're just surviving their shift?
Next time I'm in Scrubs buying soda and fruit snacks, I dare someone to tell me I'm faking it. They're not. They're gonna get a full rundown of their cholesterol is too high. Why I scan my club card?
Moral of the story is maybe the real trick is learning to mind your business. Not everything needs to a viral moment. Sometimes tired people are just tired. And sometimes the only thing a flight attendant wants to serve is themselves some peace and quiet. So yeah, it's a ridiculous story, right? It's ridiculous.
I've never had that. My sister encounter that. She's, as you know, she's a flight attendant, and she does stop at home on the way home, grabbing whether it be food or snacks or whatever, because that's the only time she's able to make that little pit stop, before she gets home and she's home with the dogs and the husband. It's and then well soon a kid, but there's gonna be it. You kind of have to take advantage. Okay, I have this a lot of time. I'm off early enough that I can stop on my home, and it's literally on my way home to grab something from wherever in my uniform. I don't care. I just need to grab it and go. My sister usually takes off her tags and stuff like that, but like she's still in her gear, like it's still her garb. She just came from a flight. She's like, I'm done. I'm like, mm-mm. Just like me when I got in the car, it's my badge is off and in the bag. Like, mm-mm. I'm not even thinking about it. Sometimes I forget about it, but yeah.
So you're not cosplaying a nurse or your sister as a flight attendant at different places.
Right, we're not cosplaying. We're doing our jobs literally day in and day out. I think that is absurd how people think. Just because it's just like somebody in a suit. They're either a lawyer or a businessman. We're gonna accuse them and accost them. Oh, you're being an influencer.
Well, you can't. The thing is, the other side of the coin is you can't blame some people because there are people who pull pranks. Like there was the Target prank that happened a couple of weeks ago, where a person called a bunch of their friends to wear red shirts and like polos and stuff, and guy goes in, says I'm trying to remember, I'm paraphrasing it, but he says like he was a corporate team lead to come help the store, and he brought in a bunch of people behind him wearing red tees and khaki pants, and just a flood of people, and they were just working, trying to get into the check stands, trying to help customers. And it's things like that. You can't blame people sometimes. Damn, it's
Yeah, I get
uh,
it. I get that kind of thing. But it was just a single person. You know, probably makeup in the snack aisle because you're always running out of makeup when you're a flight attendant, apparently. So it's just I don't know. Part of it just like it was a really absurd. They're just probably in the rest blues, I guess you could say, just like anybody else wearing their dress clothes.
yeah, just the world we currently live in. The world we currently live in.
Absurdity, absurdity.
All right then. So in today's episode, we're also going to be talking about of the government is just winging it. So the FBI, yes, our FBI apparently decided to moonlight as crypto dealers. Specifically, they hijacked and ran an entire dark web money laundering site and named it Elon Musk WHM.
Wait, hold up. Elon Musk, what happens money? I mean, what does WH mean? Wild hype machine, weird hairy mama.
Honestly, I hope it stands for We're Hacked Millions because that feels the most accurate. This wasn't just some little sting operation either. The FBI ran this crypto laundering honeypot for almost a year.
Bro, imagine the FBI intern logging into the dark web every day, like, "Good morning, boss. I'm here to process a drug cartel Bitcoin."
Here's the wildest part. According to reports with Gizmo and Vice, they actually ran it well enough that criminals genuinely trusted them. It's like they watched Breaking Bad and said, "Yeah, we can do that, but add Elon mean." It was so quote. It was like watching a crypto honeypot dressed in Elon Musk meme jacket. End quote.
Government's out here dropping me coins while we're sending me letters in Comic Sans font telling me I owe $12 in taxes.
But here's where it gets messy. The line between justice and entrapment is razor thin. Like, yes, it worked. They got tons of bad actors, but what happens when the enforcement becomes just another player in the dark web economy? Are they stopping crime or competing in it?
Listen, if the FBI ever wants me to run a decoy OnlyFans to catch creeps, just say the word. I'm ready.
We're living we're living in a time where you just can't even trust the criminals you're laundering money with because surprise, it's the feds. Makes you wonder in 10 years with AI scammers be or MI scam AI scammers be the FBI bots arguing with Russian bots while we just are over here trying to pay rent. All right. Yeah. So what do you think, Liz, as we enter the future of
I don't even
crime?
know anymore, bro. I don't even know. Like, this is crazy. The fact that they put it on Elon Musk. And people fell for it, obviously. But that's great. I mean, that's great. Let's just trick some people in the dark web. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, that's where things get like iffy. Yeah, it happens. There are the with the new age tech happening these days. Um, I understand why the government and these organizations, the CIA, FBI, are getting into this like because you have to stay up to date with all the things and you know you have to this is not the first time that uh they have to quote get dirty, right? And get into that. There are a lot of things that people don't know or are unaware that these 3 letter agencies do to quote protect the country, um more so yeah, I've been heavy in the last couple of months in this like deep lore of what they have done and some of the things that have been declassified. It's crazy. It might even
I
become a
believe it.
bonus. It might become a bonus episode if we dive into them because Liz is very unaware of some of the things they have done. And she would be very saddened and disturbed of some of the things that governments, including our own, have done in the these past couple decades or more.
I read articles. Not I don't tell every and send you every single one of them, but I do read some of it. I don't think I'm completely out of the loop. I do am intrigued at what they do. I do think that some of that information that we need to declassify. So I wouldn't be surprised if I heard some of it already, and I wouldn't be surprised with our government just in general, just because they're shady as fuck.
More so these days. More so these. You know, I'm out here just trying to make sure I have food in my belly and a roof over my head.
Same. And a car
Um,
payment.
do you have any other thoughts of just how wild some of these or how dumb some criminals can be when it comes to these things?
I don't know. The dark web is shady enough. Like I wouldn't even want to get in there and be like, nope, I'll just sign myself up to be to be eaten by a cannibal or something. I don't know.
It is a wild place. I've looked into a little bit of it. It is a very very interesting and tumultuous, but there's sometimes some weird goofy stuff too that happens in there. Because yeah,
Hmm.
when people think dark web, they just think of all the drug cartels, money laundering, torture sites and stuff like that. But there's other weird goofy stuff that happens there because it's such a like what is it, the open seas of the internet, right? Like it's unregulated and the like. Yeah, for as much as horrible as there is, there's already some horribleness in the regular internet. There is some goofiness out in the open seas. But yeah, but at least they caught some people, and that's the positive we can take out of that, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so taking things down for a moment here, because not everything in our world of weird headlines is absurd or funny. Some stories is a remind us just how desperate life can get for people trying to escape impossible situations. The next one comes from JFK Airport, where two teams were found dead inside the landing gear compartment of a JetBlue plane after it landed in Florida.
God, that's so heartbreaking. That's not just a headline. That's a real life, real kids.
It took months of intensive DNA testings just to identify them. Imagine that. Families left without answers, all because these boys were willing to risk everything, including their lives, for the faint hope of better futures.
Medically, the odds of surviving in a plane's wheel well are almost zero. You're dealing with freezing temperatures dropping to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit and near zero oxygen at cruising altitude. It's not like the movies. The body just shuts down.
And yet, despite those impossible odds, people still try because they're staying because staying where they are where they were felt even more dangerous than hiding in a plane landing gear. They didn't want to die, they wanted to escape.
That's what gets me. People don't take these risks because they're reckless. They take them because they're desperate. It's not about breaking rules. It's about breaking free.
This isn't isolated. These stories happen all over the world, stories that don't always make the news, stories that remind us how privileged it is to take safety for granted.
Man, we got people in this country mad because their Starbucks mobile order took an extra minute. Perspective, folks, real perspective.
Wherever these boys came from, whatever drove them to take that risk, I hope their families find peace. And maybe, just maybe, the rest of us can take a moment to think about what it means to really feel trapped and what it costs to chase freedom. Yeah, that is that's not the first story that we've had of two individuals found basically in the landing gear. It happens. It's been happening a lot in the last couple years, more so news wise, right?
I feel like it's been happening in the last few decades. There's been a one. I remember one story. I don't know if you've ever read the story about a gentleman who snuck in there, but actually lived to tell the tale.
Oof. Was he like fully like cloaked and everything, or what?
He was fully clothed and everything. I think he was like in his 50s when he or 40s or something like that when he did it. So the fact that he survived and was the odds were next to nothing. So the fact that he survived and
Yeah, and
crazy.
more so than none, like mentioned in the articles, that people are trying to get away from different situations. It's like rarely do you ever think this would be like in some of the earlier stories for clout or anything. It's just people are just trying to get away, and that's kind of how bad some situation can be, where you go for broke basically. I can only imagine what these two kids were like running from to put themselves in this situation. I cannot imagine.
Right? I don't I can't even imagine either. I mean, that's horrible. Whatever life they're trying to run away from. Like, I mean, there's so many places where war and teenagers and kids are dragged into being soldiers for some of these places. I mean, so it probably has to be something very similar to that, or the poor conditions of living are terrible. So
So yeah, we hope their family the best, because yeah, they had a horrible death to say the least. But
they probably didn't know it though. They're slowly
probably
freezing to death,
yeah. But the next one's a crazy story. So this next story I generally thought was a rejected Florida man headline. But no, welcome to Missouri, where police are investigating a foster mom who may have allegedly, and I wish I was making this up, traded a child for a monkey.
But I know the foster system was broken, but when did it turn into Pokemon Human Trafficker Edition?
According to yeah,
And look at that shit.
according to reports from Yahoo and then the Independent, this woman had fostered over 200 kids across the years, which already raises some serious eyebrows. But now she's under investigation for child abuse, trafficking, and possibly adding a monkey to her exotic animal collection through trade negotiations.
I've never seen someone make some questionable pet choices, but we are not bartering children like we're on an episode of Animal Crossing Dark Web DLC.
Bruh.
It's both absurd and terrifying, because it shines a massive spotlight on how underfunded, understaffed, and unchecked parts of the foster care system really are. You shouldn't be able to foster 200 kids like you're running a poorly managed daycare slash Zoom. Authorities,
Authorities are still investigating.
yeah, quote, you can read the quote, go for it.
Quote, authorities are still investigating whether the child was actually traded for a monkey. But either way, it raises disturbing questions about oversight, end quote. Somebody check this woman's Amazon's wish list, but it's just monkey diapers and trauma.
And beyond the ridiculous headline, there are real kids caught in the mess. Kids who probably thought they were finally safe, only to end up in some twisted jungle gym of neglect and exploitation.
Foster kids deserve love, care, and actual stability, not a Craigslist ad experience.
Bottom line, if the foster care system sounded like something out of a Nicolas Cage movie, you've already failed. So yeah, it is wild that it is wild that this is where we're at. This is problem. Have we had? We've had some orphanage slash foster parents stories done before, but this was the first time.
And regular people who have had kids and they still chain them up.
Yep. Oh, we just talked about that a couple weeks ago. And this time we're adding a wildlife to the mix, a jungle wildlife. What were your thoughts when you looked into this article?
I was like, are you kidding me? Like the title alone, I'm like, am I reading that right? I had to open it up. I was like, and started reading it. I was like, oh my God, this is a topic for us. I mean, it is so crazy. So crazy. Like how absurd that is, you know? And I can't believe, 200 kids already in foster care and you just managed to just to happen to raise them all and they're doing well as adults. I don't know if they even made it to adulthood. But just crazy. Just absolutely nuts,
Not a single
to be
fuck was
traded for a
given this
monkey.
day.
Hey kid, I'm trading you to that person over there. I don't know who they are, but you're getting traded for a monkey. That monkey's mine.
Emotional damage.
All I care about is my monkey. My exotic monkeys.
Fuck me, right?
Yeah, it is a sad real story. And yeah, with how things are happening right now, our staff is even getting less funded, less staffing, so it makes it even harder. We are going to be hearing more of these stories, more in the next coming years, potentially, of just how, and if they get reported on and showcased, as much as it's a goofy story of a lady trading kids for wildlife, kids are getting traded for wildlife at the end of the day, and it's the ones who are suffering. Oh, actually, there's two. There are one, the kids, and two, the wildlife that are being put into situations where, yeah, like I personally would not know how to take care of a monkey if I got one. Like would this lady who has had allegedly 200 kids under her belt be able to raise a monkey? I think not.
I don't think so either. Oh, those kids could train the monkey better than her, probably. I'm just saying.
All right, then. We're getting toward the end, everyone. Surprisingly, that was a quick. We are getting through. Double check, everyone.
Yep, looks like we did. I I got a handful of them into this week, so.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But the last one is our big story of the episode. So we've talked about people doing wild things in the name of survival. Now let's pivot to people doing wild things in the name of content. This is where our story ends up with. Because this story right here, this is the peak main character energy meets bad life choices in the worst possible way.
Ooh, is this a Florida man again? No, wait, we're international now. Exported dumbassery Egyptian?
Close. We're going global, and we're heading to the Philippines, where infamous IRL streamer Vitaly is facing up to 25 years in prison. All because he decided to live stream a series of disruptive stunts, including one stealing a police officer's hat during a press conference on camera, multiple other alleged things. He has multiple sentences that can put him in jail for multiple years, including potentially reaching for an officer's gun.
That's not content. That's just selecting hard mode in real life.
Oh, yes. Vitaly's whole stick is just being chaotic in public spaces, like treating the world like a GTA Online, except in the Philippines. They don't play that game. He's been locked up in a shared cell with no AC, surviving at $1.20 of food a day, no streaming access, and awaiting charges that could keep him there for decades. Potentially something that we've talked about a couple weeks ago about another streamer in South Korea.
Mm-hmm. Imagine going from Twitch donations and IRL cloud to fighting off mosquitoes in a concrete box with a cup of rice. Fuck, I had a content ban. That's a reality check.
This raises a bigger conversation, though, about the ethics of content creation. How far do you push a persona before it consumes your real life? And what point does chasing virality stop being entertainment and starts being self-destruction? Quote, Vitaly is being held in harsh conditions after what authorities called a disturbing this piece live stream, with no immediate plans for deportation.
Pro tip: you stream idea starts with steal from a cap. You shut off the GoPro and go touch grass.
But we're not done with the story yet, because part 2 of this mess is about the internet reaction that blurs the line between clout chasing and criminal behavior, and what international laws don't care about your subscriber count. So we're gonna pick up a little bit. Give us a second here. As Vitaly, the IRL streamer who's greeted the Philippines, the Philippines, like his personal content playground, is now facing the cold, hard reality of what happens when the bit goes too far. And what really fascinates me is how the internet responded, because there's 2 different camps here. Camp A says, free Vitaly because he's just making content, bro. And Camp B saying, nah, actions have consequences, especially in another country with different laws.
I love that people actually shocked, like, wait, you mean that every country runs on American influence rules? Shocking. Stunning.
This is what I call clout delusion, where creators start believing that their audience bubble protects them from real world accountability. And to be fair, in the US, maybe it does sometimes. But internationally, you're just another tourist with a bad decision making. Quote, the Philippine officials have been clear. Vitaly will remain in custody pending charges, no streaming privileges, no expediting deportation, no influencer immunity, end quote.
Imagine trying to barter your subscriber count for bail money. Listen, officer, I have 1.2 million followers on TikTok. Does that cover the fine?
We've started this episode talking about people fighting for survival, taking impossible risks just for a better life. And here we are watching someone risk everything for clout, for clicks, for content that evaporates after 24 hours. It's wild how both paths involve risk, but only one of them seems to understand the stakes.
Vitaly thought he was streaming. Disturbing the peace, turns out he's unlocked the maximum security DLC instead.
Let this be a lesson. The internet might forgive you, your followers might cheer you on, but the real world does not care about your viewers. Action echoes louder offline. But sometimes the stream really does end. But yeah, Liz, what are your thoughts?
It never seems to end. We always seem to find another story of another clout chaser to get more views, more likes, more yada yada. You know what I mean? But the fact that they think they're immune when they're seas, or especially like our guy who was in his own home country. I mean, think about it. It's you can't just go disturb the public just because you think that's gonna get you the clicks, the likes. Nah.
Yeah, I think we're at a turning point these last couple months, with more of the consequences being realistic because of other countries, with the Johnny Somali situation, and now with the Vitaly situation. I think countries are now being more so reluctant about how content creators are being. I know Japan, the past couple of years, have been very, very restrictive in how tourists are able to, like, if you go to Japan, there are locations where you will be, like restaurants, they said, like, don't record or anything. They don't want you to be a nuisance, basically, just because of how other people have portrayed. And that basically is that they are the portrayal of what tourist is. And if that's your first time meeting, if a local is at the first time seeing a tourist and that's their impression, like what is it going to look if we ever become a tourist in that area and that's what they think we are, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. You're supposed to be a tourist. That means you enjoy the local scenery, the culture, the food, and you all take it in. You're not supposed to be live streaming every second of your day. I mean, I get it. I like to take pictures of food. Like, oh my gosh, that's something I want to share with the rest of the world. Oh my God, look at this food. Click, move on. That's, it's really going to be disruptive for the people who do love to travel and really enjoy life and take pictures of the views and stuff like that. So these people are ruining every opportunity for us. And then, we already have visas already inclined to us right now about why you're traveling to a certain country. Most of them are targeting the U.S. at us. So looking at that, it's just going to escalate, man. It's going to escalate. No bueno.
Exactly. So let's watch a video that's gonna kind of go over this main topic to kind of really showcase, Liz, what is happening. All right, we're back, everyone. Let's get started.
This scumbag IRL influencer can now be facing up to multiple decades in prison in the Philippines, all because he live streamed himself harassing strangers in the street, mall security guards, and stealing multiple items, including a mall security bike. Obviously, we're talking about the case surrounding Vitaly, who's an American-Russian YouTuber who was one of the largest prank channels back in the day, who unfortunately lost his mind and ended up serving some time due to horrifically attacking a jogger.
So he already had a charge. You could go ahead and read that for our listeners.
YouTube star Vitaly, I'm not going to pronounce his last name, actually attacking female jogger who he didn't know.
Okay, reread that. You're cutting out. Reread that. You cut out a little bit.
YouTube star Vitaly arrested for allegedly attacking female jogger who he didn't know.
So yeah, he already had back in 2020. This was back in 2020. So he was already a prank YouTuber back in the day, and then he kind of faded off for a little bit, and then he got into a couple situations, but this was his biggest one until recently.
In Miami, but recently he came back to the internet, and he's came back to the internet a few times, but in the most recent time he decided to come back to the internet and essentially be a knockoff Johnny Somali for some reason. And in his comeback, he was definitely not wise when it comes to picking the country to be a nuisance in, the Philippines. I don't know why you would ever want to come to the Philippines and go live with the title "Disturbing the Peace in the Philippines," as that is probably one of the...
That was his title for his stream. You know how we have titles for every episode? That was his title. What more of a way to implicate yourself?
Right?
What are your thoughts, Liz, so far? Just seeing some of the he recorded.
I like a knockoff. He is a knockoff of Somali.
The last countries I would ever want to have that title in my stream, let alone go around and harass people and then steal multiple items while live streaming yourself doing so. It's like the influencer version of Darwinism. And his actions are definitely catching up to him here now because he was just perp walked out in front of the entire country.
Secretary John Vic Remulla will now make a statement.
Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat.
Yeah, the smirk he had during his arrest and mugshot, that's completely gone. Dude, he was warned multiple times. He didn't care. He just openly embraced going to jail in the Philippines on his stream. And now he's in even more trouble than what I think he's ever been in his life. And that really, really sets the bar when you look at the situation that happened in Miami. Because if you have a horrific attack on your record and somehow you're in more trouble than what you were then, oh boy. So what are they charging them for?
Vitaly engaged in multiple disruptive and inappropriate acts, including attempting to kiss and grab him, trying to seize his service firearm, taking videos of him without consent, mocking other security guards, and vlogging without a permit in BGC. Also, in Vitaly's latest video in BGC, nakita siyang sumasakay ng patrol motorcycle na walang abiso.
Oh wow, there's just a whole plethora of charges here that can be disastrous for him. They're also
What do you think? Those are all the charges.
I didn't hear all of them because of the sound thing, but I could believe that is a big no in the Philippines.
So yeah.
Oh, no.
So okay, what did you hear? And I kind of heard most of them. What did you hear?
Assaulting an officer?
No. So yeah, kind of by trying to kiss him. Remember the first?
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Touching him inappropriately? Did I hear something about that?
He was trying to reach for the
Without
firearm.
his consent?
He was trying to reach for the firearm, which in America you would not be alive. Like,
Yep.
you try to reach for an American cop's firearm, that is your last moment in life. And so, what else? Just basically disturbing the peace was another one. Recording people without their consent, riding a officer's motorbike, and then yeah, those. It's. And note that this is going through his head while live streaming, Liz. Live stream. And he is one of the bigger ones there, but there are so many sub guys like this who are doing stuff similar or close to this. Maybe not to this extent, but they are trying to get the clout.
Again, why? This makes no sense to me. All for the clout. What clout?
Be happy you didn't grow up in that generation.
4x4 car.
talking not just fully English, they're speaking tag along with English, which I think they call taglish. So I had to transcribe a lot of this to actually understand what is going on and then run it through ChatGPT and then have ChatGPT essentially tell me what they were saying. So it's not fully spot on yet, but that's what happens when we're trying to break this news. So here we have, I guess, the charges against
he's gonna read the
Vitaly,
charges,
which
okay.
aren't 100% set in stone from what I can tell, because he just kind of threw out a lot of the things that happened that they're investigating him for. So first you have unjust vexation, which is engaging in behavior that caused annoyance and distress to others. Then you have alarm and scandal, which is actions that disturb public peace and order. Then you had attempted theft, which was trying to unlawfully take a security guard's firearm. That's a serious charge. That is, did this happen after my coverage? Did this happen after he was arrested? I don't remember that being on the stream that I skimmed through. That is a serious charge. Then you have the 2 counts of theft if they go after him for taking the motorcycle and the industrial fan, and then also that face mask, but they returned the face mask pretty quickly. So we'll see what they do there. Then you have the threatening to rob an old lady as well.
He threatened to rob an old lady?
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I feel like the hole just keeps getting bigger. I hear the shovel.
No, Liz, that digging that hole is all being live streamed on top of that.
Wow. But
I
what
know.
I didn't know until now is apparently if you steal a motorcycle in the Philippines, you can actually get up to life in prison. And this is all due to a newer and stricter law that they put in place around 2016. Now, will he get life in prison? There's no way. But the fact that you would even go to a country and do something that can give you a maximum of life in prison is insane. I am seeing multiple locals say that he could be facing up to 24 years in prison, as it's up to 12 years for each of the counts of theft there. And that's just the theft cases alone. And then you have all these other charges up here as well. So will he get this amount of time? Probably not. But I don't think he's going to just leave the country next week, to put it lightly. It seems like they very much so want to charge him. So then they go on to say that charges also stem from incidents where Vitaly is seen grabbing a security guard's hat, attempting to seize another guard's firearm, and threatening to rob a woman in Bonifacio Global C. Now, Secretary Romola, who is the guy that essentially had him perp walked out there in front of the whole country, now he said that Vitaly will not be deported immediately, but will remain in the Bureau of Immigration Detention Facility to face the charges filed against him. He also emphasized that no special treatment will be given, stating that we're done with foreigners who only insult Filipinos. This is an example that we are serious here in our country and we won't let them belittle us. And they also stated that authorities are seeking Vitaly's cameraman, who may also face charges for enabling a
Okay, what are your thoughts, Liz?
I could totally see it. The cameraman's just his fault, you know? You're filming it, bro. You're gonna get caught. You're going to get caught.
So the cameraman definitely is on the run. As far as the time of the recording, I think he's still on the run. He was a local. So he's a local, like enabling this. But what do you think of this guy's, Secretary Romola's response to?
I absolutely think that you make it, him authority of like disgust. This is not the way, or like, I can't think of the words right now, but you know what
An
I'm talking
example.
about. Like, he's showing him the example and made a bad, taking him and showing him he's the bad example. Do not follow this guy's example. This guy's stupid. So.
And then see what happens if you do follow it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think his
24 years at least minimally. 24 years and minimally. That doesn't count for anything else.
Yeah, but his other stuff, it's wild.
commission of crime. This is a stark contrast from what we've seen Japan do with Johnny Somali, and now maybe even South Korea with Johnny Somali, as they seem to be playing way more softball with him there. In the Philippines, they're not messing around. They had him perp walk down in front of the whole country within a week of an arrest.
Bruh.
Within the week of him doing it, they arrested him right away. They arrested him 2 days after my video on him. They arrested him on the 3rd of April. Now on the 7th of April, they're having him perp walked out in front of the entire country saying, hey, we're going to make an example out of this guy. This is not okay. This is crazy. Why, as an influencer, would you ever go mess around and do this kind of content, especially not in your home country? Fair enough if you actually understand the laws of the place that you're in, but still, please never do stuff like this, because again, I want to live in a world where I can walk around in public without having to worry about being harassed by an IRL streamer. Is that so much to ask for?
I don't know. Is it too much to ask for to not be harassed by an IRL?
IRL streamer. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, Liz.
You know
I
what I
don't
mean.
know. Everyone, like I did, like every day, these days, every day, everyone has a phone, who has a camera, who has the potential to get a following. More so the younger generations, where like you and me grew up where with the rise of the internet. And some people pivoted into that and made livings out of it. They became very popular content creators, YouTubers, live streamers. They've made some success. There are some positive successes out there. But some people turned went on a slightly negative route and then made some positive changes, but some just kept going in the negative route. And now and then some of those negative route, just people who made those decisions are now some of the idols that some of the younger generations that are currently watching them, because like a lot of the people who are watching these guys are like young kids, like, oh, that's funny. Like, I like that. And it's like, you know, these are like, you can't say as a kid you didn't enjoy some bad entertainment, right?
We were our own bad entertainment. We didn't have the internet. I mean, we didn't have cameras and phones on it. So, like I like to say to the people, there's no real history of our bad moment in life, you know.
That is a positive. That is a positive. But can you not
I
say?
wouldn't did something stupid like this. Nothing like this. No.
Oh no. But you still, would you and your friends be recording stuff if that was your era of growing up?
No.
Can you say that with 100%
My siblings and I
certainty?
were like, nope, we're tight-lipped. We're not doing this shit. Because if my dad got a hold of that camera with that video, that would be the end of it. I'm just saying. I think about it right now. I'm like, my dad was still alive. Oh no, no, no. The wrath alone on that guy. No, thank you. I'm walking on. I like to set. I liked.
Fuck me, right?
I like having a mouth that works. I'm just saying.
Well, that YouTube would have wouldn't ended quickly, but yeah, but that's what we're in right now. It's just these guys that are old generation, new generation, trying to stay relevant, and some of them are now seeing the consequences of their actions. But some of the times, everyday people have to suffer for it.
And I feel like everyone in the world deserves that very basic right. If you're out in public, you shouldn't have some IRL streamer harassing you to try to get some sort of reaction so they can monetize it for their live stream. It's just unacceptable. But continuing, it says Vitaly's actions have drawn significant criticism and authorities are committed to ensuring accountability for his conduct in the Philippines. Here's a little snippet where he says that Vitaly has to take accountability for his own content.
People have to take responsibility for the content they create. It is not a license to shame or to hurt or to besmirch anyone. A vlog ang social media ay may kaakibat na responsibilidad.
But then Vitaly gets in trouble during the press conference because for some reason the dude just can't stay serious even though his freedom is literally on the line here. Bro's freedom is literally at stake. And speaking of the other stake, he's also now banned from Kick.com. So that stake deal is gone. He has officially been 404 as he was so worried about becoming.
Before we give our next question, may I just remind Mr. Vitaly to respect the secretary while he is speaking and not say anything or gesture anything that is out of the ordinary. Thank you so much. So may we call on Mr. Rambo from BZXL.
Oh boy, that is the stare of a man who wants to put you under the prison. Vitaly is in for a rough time. Who would have known that harassing people and just making an absolute fool out of yourself and I guess the platform that you represent would get you banned? I feel like it's pretty obvious, but I guess people need to be made examples of so others will learn. Because at the end of the day, no one wants this, and not even Kick wants this, because Kick does not want to risk being banned in a whole country. So they're just gonna quickly ban and get rid of whatever streamer that causes a commotion like that. But then a journalist asked if Vitaly is allowed to speak.
Good morning, Secretary. Jess Cruzat from ABS-CBN News. I may ask if Mr. Vitaly is allowed to speak.
No, not today. Only in a formal inquest.
All right. Okay.
I mean, you could
You could see in his face that and then he like, no. But yeah, let's see. There is one
You're
more.
not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to talk. Okay.
Yeah, we have one more video to kind of just quickly wrap up this, and then we'll be closing off this topic. But yeah, you could tell this guy, he is not taking this very lightly. He is definitely making an example of him. We're gonna be going over some of the court stuff a little bit more deeper. So give us 1 second, everyone. Okay, everyone, we're back. We're gonna be watching Legal Mindset and his thoughts he's not an international lawyer, but he's an American lawyer. So we'll be watching his review to the best of his ability as he critiques, or not critiques, he kind of discusses it to the best of his ability.
All right, let's get the PowerPoint. Of course, we've got the Vitaly update. Do you like that? I got the Philippine flag instead of the Korean flag for this one. Shout out.
He's
nice little PP here.
So for Liz and the audience knowledge, both Legal Mindset and Atozi, the guy we just watched, were both at Johnny Somali's court hearing in South Korea. They flew to South Korea to be at that court hearing. So those two guys are following this whole thing. Now they're keeping an eye on the whole Vitaly stuff. So these guys have been following. So these are the content creators, Liz, that are keeping up to date for people like us that don't have the time. So we should thank them for that.
Yes, thank you.
All right. What are the charges? And
Okay.
this is not all inclusive. These are just the ones that were listed objectively. So all of those other channels that are going to make videos on Vitaly, please copy this because this is the accurate information. This is what the secretary said.
So Liz, if you want to read these.
Attempting to kiss and grab a security guard. trying to seize a service firearm, taking videos without consent, mocking security guards, blogging without a permit in BGC, harassment of old woman, harassment of Boracay instructor.
Okay.
So I'm going off of his exact words, and the things he said might be
So we
might
want to be
be,
as
charged.
accurate as possible too.
or are
We don't
gonna
want
be
to
charged.
spread
Attempting
misinformation.
to grab and kiss and grab a security guard, trying to seize a service firearm, taking videos without consent, mocking security guards, vlogging without a permit because you need a permit in BGC, harassment of an old woman, harassment of a Boracay instructor.
Boracay. Okay.
That's a lot, and that's not all. By the way, on top of this, he also crashed a trike, and he also threatened to rob a woman. That's on top of all of this. On top of all this, but the gun thing, the trying to take his gun, oh man, oh man,
Yeah.
and that's just possible. This is not all inclusive. Next, these are the consequences. FAFO. Fully detained. That means he cannot get out until the court hearing is finished. The court in the Philippines is packed, and it's very backed up. It's super slow. Which
Wait, I just looked at that. It's gonna take 2 to 3 years before his trial.
Damn. Woo.
So he's gonna be detained for 2 to 3 years before he even gets any jail time in a Philippine detention center.
I do not want to be detained in a jail cell anytime soon, it sounds like.
If anything, I would want to be detained in a Swedish cell, right? Like any foreign
Denmark could be fine too. I mean, they're great.
But yeah, I would say nearly almost any other foreign country jail system, even American ones, I would not want to be detained. More so, yeah. If you're an American going to a foreign one, you are fucked, basically. I think you and me both agree that we would not want to be in any of these. And then basically I wonder who he's going to explain, but damn, I didn't know he was going to be detained for so long, even before his hearing. Ooh.
Means 2 to 3 years
long
before
forgot
trial.
by then.
We have
True.
a guaranteed minimum, even if he was not guilty, of 2 to 3 years. Amazing. Next, he will not receive special treatment. He will have the same meals, 70 pesos, $1.20 per day. He's sharing a jail cell with multiple inmates. He's going to have multiple Filipinos in that jail cell with him, and no air conditioning. The average temperature, not including the kind of winter, is 97 degrees Fahrenheit.
Liz, you're cheering right now. Why are you cheering?
I was not cheering. I was thinking he's gonna get pummeled. Think about it. Hot room, testosterone. Yeah. You're the outsider. We're taking you out. Screw that.
He is. He's not gonna have a fun time these next couple of years as he's being detained.
Oh God, I would not want to be in a jail system for 2 to 3 years before I actually get to court. Like, fuck that. Bye.
97 degrees. Crazy. Yeah. Let's continue. Legal nuisances. So this is actually I really meant to talk about legal consequence for nuisance streamers, but anyways, legal nuisances. The law regarding nuisances, right? So this is something that was explained to me by a Filipino lawyer. So I want to explain it to you guys. So in the Philippines, there is a difference of the law. There's a difference between the special penal law and the revised penal code. And according to this Philippines lawyer, once again, this is the Philippines lawyer that explained it to me. I'm not a Filipino lawyer, I'm an American attorney, but a Philippines lawyer explained this to me. They said that they may end up using the special penal code. Now, the normal revised penal code actually is mala in se, or malum in se, as we say in the US, which means you need proof of malice to convict somebody. However, under the special penal code, it's malum prohibitum or mala prohibitum, which means the mere act of doing it is enough. So they do not have to prove intent. They just
So the revised penal code needs, proof that he was being a nuisance, doing it with bad intent. While the special penal law, this is the layman term, just doing it, you are, to my knowledge,
SOL.
Yeah. So yeah, wow. Oh, interesting. So yeah, if you would have to prove like you were doing it with bad intentions, or if you just did it, if you just stole something out of bad, you would like, okay. But if you did it, just the act of stealing is enough. Okay. So yeah, that is crazy. That is crazy.
Right? Oh God. Special
just
penal
have to
code.
prove that he did the action. And if he did the action, he's guilty. So if he gets the special penal just for doing the act, he's cooked. He's cooked. Because that's the special penal code. It's mala prohibitum. The act is enough. Just the action is enough. Usually you have to have what's called mens rea. That's a state of mind, right? So typically for many crimes, you have to have a certain state of mind. That would be like, for example, for a first-degree murder in the US, you have to intentionally murder somebody. Intentional murder. That's first degree. You have a mens rea. You have malice. You have thought. If it's a crime that is malum prohibitum, that's something like underage drinking, right? In America, if you drink under 21, that would be it, right? Or if you're driving over a certain blood alcohol content. So if you're drunk in the US, if you have a BAC of like, whatever, 0.2 or something or whatever, or 0.02, whatever it is, you have a BAC that's high. It doesn't matter whether you intended or didn't intend it, or whether you had good intent or bad intent. If your blood alcohol content is too high, you're guilty, period. That's malum prohibitum, right? So if they use that code, he is in trouble. So the overall circumstances can aggravate punishment.
Oh, I get it. I was trying to figure out what is he saying. Okay, but using his example of the drunk driving thing, if you accidentally kill someone, they would use the special penal law instead of the revised penal law, because you want to be in the state of mind, because there is no malice being under the influence, but just the mere act. They would use the special penal law. Does that make sense, or am I saying it wrong?
Mm-hmm. That's how I interpreted it too.
So yeah, okay. So that's my. I hope everyone listening, that's kind of how I was reading into it. But I wanted to have another person to like, yeah. So, but yeah, that's okay. That's crazy. We are both of us are not lawyers, and we have not dealt with much lawyering. Liz is a little bit more than I have, but even then, legal speak is another language unto in itself, right? So
it's jargon after jargon, man.
So, but that's crazy. He is like Legal Mindset said, he is cooked. I think, how much more is there?
So this is something Romula actually brought up, and I want to put a little point on this. So his behavior and the fact that he profited from this can actually make the punishment worse. They can use that as an aggravating factor to punish him even more severely, right? And this is going to take years to process. So think about that. After years of trial, he might face another 5-10 years of punishment. Absolutely crazy.
So yeah, we're back, everyone. What do you think, Liz, of the whole Vitaly situation right now?
That seems. I don't know. Did he realizes he really fucked himself in the ass, literally. the fact that it's 2 to 3 years before you get to actual jail, like actual house sentencing, actual court, and then you add another 10 to 20 plus years on there. I don't know. Are you happy with that? Having 70 pesos of food a day? 3 square meals? In a hot cell? Ugh.
Yeah, he is. He will get cooked, to say the least, right?
Literally. In humidity. I know they have humidity.
But yeah, that is the tale of Vitaly at the moment. If we see anything else, that warrants more updates, a little bit more, something more interesting happens, we'll come back to the story. What do you think, Liz? Should we come back to the story if something big happens?
Yeah, if there's anything that happens that it makes it worth the news, definitely we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will talk about it. All right, but that brings us to the end of this week's wild ride through headlines, humanity, and the hard lessons. We've seen the obscurity from a flight attendant getting called out for existing to the FBI cosplaying as Elon Musk on the dark web. We witnessed tragedies with 2 teens risking everything for a better life and paying the ultimate price. We stared into the chaotic heart of a content culture and where clout chasing can lead you not to fame, but to a prison cell halfway across the world.
Honestly, if there's a theme this week, it probably is this. Life is weird, people are weirder, and sometimes you just gotta mind your business and stay in your own lane. Or, not trade kids for monkeys.
Are you out of your mind?
Remember, the world's always going to feel a little convoluted, and that's what we're here for. To break it down, laugh about it, sometimes cry about it, but always try to understand the layers beneath the madness.
And if all else fails, to stay hydrated. Just don't trust random crypto sites and maybe leave the wheels well to the luggage.
And hey, if you made it this far through the flight attendant's drama, monkey trades, crypto stings, and international streamer disasters, you're exactly our kind of people.
Slightly weird, mildly concerned for humanity, but still here for the ride.
So do us a favor. If you laughed, learned something, or just whispered, what the actual hell, at any point tonight, hit that follow button. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, share the show with one of those friends who always sends you unhinged news stories at 3 a.m. We see you, we appreciate you.
And if you come across a story that's so bizarre it hurts your brain, send it our way. We'll probably talk about it, or at least meme it in the group chat.
This is the Convoluted Podcast, where the world stays weird and we stay curious enough to talk about it. See ya!